Hey, I'm telling you, that's a line you cross. You don't come back.
I'd like a room. One night.
Any baggage?
Yeah. Whole lot of it.
It's night 3, the grand opening of the new Continental Hotel. It's luxury lodging, stunning views, exceptional housekeeping, and amenities to die for. And just like Squid Games, it's time to play to be red light, green light. This means the Continental will now be open for business. Remember, in the John Wick verse, there was no business.
Business conducted on the Continental grounds.
But that was when Winston was in charge. With the Mad Kickin' rule, that red siren literally signifies a bloody red paint job on the walls of the Continental. I hope the hotel staff are armed, not with guns, but a mop and a bucket. Before we begin, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to be notified for everything in the world of John Wick and the Continental. From episode 2, The Calm Before the Storm, a visit to the church to repent before Cormac turns the Continental red, and his team of mercenaries set out for open season.
Duck season. Wabbit season. Wabbit season. Duck season. Fire!
Now, there is only one way to beat Cormac and the High Table, which is at their own game.
How? Turn his rules and consequences against him.
Remember to act like you serve the throne to overthrow it. And this is exactly Winston's plan, with Charon citing every valid reason for why Cormac deserves to be betrayed. Charon exploits Winston's plans to Cormac, but he is using it as a Trojan house, a loyalty to a master, but now based on deceit. So once the siren flashes red, the team assembles with their plan to seize the hotel armory, get reloaded like the Matrix. They're going to need guns.
Lots of guns.
The opening sequence, the animation changes slightly in each episode. In the dojo reading, loyalty, sacrifice, and now redemption, and the street posters to show what looks like Foxy Brown, and redemption once again. And to end the intro with the severed hand, the rebellion against rule and authority, which is the High Table foreshadowing Cormac's death. Opening with the aftermath of Winston and Frankie after their little crime escapade, traumatized and controlled as children by Cormac, just like Miss Honey under the control of Miss Trunchbull.
How he manipulates people. Because as a kid, he did it to me and Frankie.
Winston gets some harsh criticism from his team. Just like my manager, his strategy is not clear.
I like your plan, except it sucks, so let me do the plan, and that way, it might be really good.
He visits the Bowery and meets with Mace, sharing the ruthless nature of his upbringing, a alcoholic father, and poverty-stricken mother. It's why Winston strove for success, assets, and money.
I also have a lot of money.
And just like Bruce Wayne, he buys the bank. Time to set up the Hall of Justice.
I bought the bank.
Now Cormac starts to go batshit crazy. What is he smoking? Believing Charon is loyal, he shares his inevitable evil plans.
I am inevitable.
Upon learning Winston's whereabouts, Hansel plays a visit to Rhodes Hotel and comes face to face with Winston and Lou and Detective KD. Looks like there's a lot of business allowed in this hotel. Time to check into the Continental, but do they have any rooms? Use a special gold coin, and they got some vacancies. Winston is captured and escorted to Cormac, but like the Trojan horse, this was part of the plan. Oh, Cormac, you're so predictable. With the inside man Charon, now the sentence is in the hands of Charon, but he just couldn't pull the trigger. The team assembles at the Continental. Begin.
Phase 2.
Back at the Continental, Winston gets a sensu bean from Charon.
Sensu bean!
Just in time for the onslaught, as the hotel glows red. All the assassins gear up.
Inimical on Continental ground.
Latin for enemy or foe, to request a legal system of the death penalty. Finally, some violent John Wick brutality. Katie is now part of the underworld of mercenaries. Given the choice, she took the red pill and now dark path down the rabbit hole.
Nah. Who was a cop?
Damn, you can't trust any of the staff in the Continental. Winston and Charon reach the vault, but it's a trap. Or is it? Loyalty to the master, but which master do you serve? Seems like all supporting cast are confused, or it's the Bowery in disguise. Maisie's homeless men. But Cormac's got a backup plan, and escapes.
Kill all these cocksuckers!
He's going out with a bang with the hotel as collateral. Cormac goes to the operations room and declares a $2 million bounty on Winston, just like Mr. Wick, with every assassin after him. Jenkins is perched up in a tower flat. He's playing the scout. Katie catches up to Winston. It's a revenge story, as she was the sole survivor from the house fire Winston and Frankie caused as kids. She douses Winston in alcohol to return the favor, hoping to watch Winston burn, just as she watched her family, but Jenkins intervenes. Elsewhere, Lou discovers her father wasn't the virtuous martial arts master she believed.
It's all lies.
He seizes the dojo forcibly, backed by local crime groups who hired him as a gun, and the orphan master returns to the dojo to reclaim his territory. But this is her redemption story, so... Back at the hotel, Sharon reveals his ties with Frankie. He was always against Cormac, and now was the right time to strike. He's armed and ready behind the poster, just like Raquel from Shawshank. She's hiding a secret. It's time for redemption. The coffee poster, the sexy black nurse, the baddest chick that hit the town seeking for vengeance.
As a junkie and a prostitute, she takes the law into her own hands.
This is the end of your rotten life, you mother.
Now, Yen is just like John, utilizing throwing knives in her arsenal out for revenge. For the woman that killed her husband.
Fight!
It's a Super Street Fighter Arcade Edition, and Gretel plays Chun-Li, using useless flamboyant kicks and the spinning bird attack. But Yen is the predecessor of John Wick, so exactly like the Baba Yaga, takes out Gretel with a knife strike to the heart. It's hard to say Frankie and Yen are not John's parents. It even explains Winston's close connection with John in the films. Lemmy gets a deadly delivery from Hansel through the mail chute. Remember, the Continental has a network of tubes that run through the hotel that allows the assassins to discreetly exchange messages, contracts, and even small items. This time it was a live grenade. Lou returns and stands beside Miles. They are the real twin assassins, and they take on Hansel, taking him out with a fatal bullet to their head. She uses her father's gun handed in the shadows by the little orphan. Finally, the brutal hand-to-hand combat we were waiting for. Cormac initiates self-destruction on the Continental to do so. His hand is the key. Commence Continental lockdown. Defensione. That will level the hotel and all its secrets. Cormac heads to the secret underground train tunnel beneath the building, where an escape pod is waiting and catches up with Winston. Mel Gibson once again plays the villain far too well. He knew all along about burning the family. And as all grievous egotistical villains do, he monologues. But Katie arrives. She's no longer playing detective.
Oh, no.
She's too deep down the rabbit hole. She's full-on assassin. Justice and redemption for her family, and decides to spare Winston's life, throwing a "be seeing you," already learning the ways of the Jedi.
May the Force be with you.
Winston rushes upstairs using Cormac's severed hand to stop Defensione, which was foreshadowed from the opening credits. With the blast shields retracting, he and Sharon celebrate with a shot of vodka, toasting their fallen comrades, Frankie and Lemmy. It's the grand reopening of the Continental with Winston in charge. Lou and Miles dominate the arms trade, and Yen avenges Frankie by blowing up Gretel on the roof. Even Jenkins finds love, despite his night of snipping, with a lady interested in his botanical expertise. Though to crash the parade, the Adjudicator arrives with her imposing henchmen. The series co-creator Kirk Ward to enforce control on the NY Continental on behalf of the High Table. Despite being impressed by Winston, the hotel
wasn't yours to take.
But what Winston has learned from Cormac, the power or leverage, knowing where Frankie hid the coin press, it was in the trunk of the car where they slept as kids, and now in hands with the Bowery. They now have the control of the underworld means of business, the gold coins, and then begins the generation of the Bowery we see from the John Wick movies. The Continental forces are just growing stronger, explaining Winston's strong presence to the High Table as a rule breaker, giving John an extra hour after declaring his excommunicado, refusing a direct order from the High Table member Santino Di Antonio, and the continued resistance against the Adjudicator we see in Chapter 3.
We are High Table.
And we are New York City.
This makes sense because he shot one dead. Now we finally get to see what's behind that mask. It truly is Melina. Sipping a dirty martini, Winston is victorious. And the return of the beautiful Harbinger from the first episode, a sign of bloodshed yet to come. Now with the finale concluded, this leaves a lot of unanswered questions. The Adjudicator states,
If your brother would have just done what he was instructed to do with the coin press, you would not be in this very unfortunate situation.
Suggesting her involvement from the beginning. Yet the Nile, the unknown organization behind the stolen press, remains a mystery. No official announcement for Season 2, but I would love to see the saga continue, of how the rule of no business on Continental's grounds came to be, as well as all the untold secrets the hotel holds. Did Winston also have a blood oath marker from an unknown alliance? Maybe the Nile. Remember in Chapter 2 he hands John a marker, which is still unresolved, even with his death. Speaking of John, his resemblance to Frankie and Yen is uncanny. How the Adjudicator got her scars.
Wanna know how I got these scars?
And the origins of the Ruska Roma family, which crime family holds the 12 seats within the High Table. Ana de Armas' Ballerina is scheduled for cinematic release on the 7th of June 2024, where we will continue the John Wick world, with more than just a cameo from Keanu Reeves, which I will be doing full coverage on, as well as more breakdowns and theories surrounding the Continental, so make sure you're subscribed to be notified for future videos.
And away we go.
Thanks for watching. If you're enjoying the content, be sure to check out my other videos on the channel, and don't forget to like and subscribe.